Now it's time for Girl, Your Soul is Speaking.
Perfect. What do you do? I'm a co-host on a radio show, and I'm real good at it.
And you're pretty too.
You got a pretty mouth. Welcome back to On Air with Tony Sweet. I'm Eddie Connor.
I'm Tony Sweet.
I'm Kim Downey.
I'm Deidre Jordan Harris.
And we're getting ready to do our segment called Girl, Your Soul is Speaking. You may know. Because you know I'm a girl that way.
You is, baby.
So today we're going to talk about hold the space and create the place. And I know a lot about lining my energy up and flowing energy, but I didn't know about it whenever I was growing up. And how many of you remember the movie Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour? Mm-hmm. And it came out, y'all might be too young. It literally came out like 79 or 80, and it was in the movie theaters. And it's about reincarnation, and it's a beautiful love story. And the music is unbelievable. And I absolutely fell in love with this movie. And the premise of it is he falls in love with Jane Seymour in a past life. And the movie opens up, Christopher Reeve is standing there celebrating his latest play. And this woman who literally looks like she's probably in her mid-90s. And back in the 80s, you know, the mid-90s didn't look as good as it looks now, okay? That's too much Spam and mayonnaise. And she comes walking up to Christopher Reeve, and she gives him a watch or something, and all she says in the whole movie is, "Come back to me." And then everybody gets very quiet. She walks out of the room. We find out later that it's Jane Seymour, the woman he was in love with in a previous life. He died, she didn't.
Wow.
And so she recognized him right away. And it was so romantic, and it was filmed in this gorgeous hotel, and there was a mystical, magical feel to it. And, you know, they had some serious chemistry going on during that movie, too. You know what I'm saying? Winkety wink wink, allegedly. Okay. And while they're going, it's a period piece, and she's an actress in it, and you just get swept up into how romantic the whole thing is. And I didn't know it at the time, but what I was doing was creating the space in my energy field, in my heart, in my mind, in my intuition. And I always wanted to go to that place. And so years passed. Every time it would come on, I would watch it, and I would keep the space that I had inside of myself got bigger and bigger for the essence of the movie. And then one time on my birthday, child, somebody gave me the Somewhere in Time soundtrack, and I listened to it until I wore it out. It was a CD because I didn't have CDs back then, okay? Because I'm young that way.
8 tracks.
Yeah. And
right.
Cassette tapes. Victrolas. And I would listen to it until I literally wore it out. And every time I listened to it, it made me feel good in my heart all over again. And then I started to learn about energy, that whatever you think and feel, you magnetize to you. And I always wanted a relationship like that. I also wanted to go to the place it was filmed. Then I was told it was in New York. And then I was told that it was the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego.
Beautiful.
So I went to the places they said it was, but it wasn't. Fast forward to, over the years, I'd completely forgotten about it. But anytime I saw her or him or saw a little snippet of the movie, the energy reignited itself. And I always had this big, huge love affair with it. And I thought, I don't know how and I don't know where, but I'm going to end up there. Well, it turns out it is on Mackinac Island in Michigan. And I think it's Mackinac.
That was in a song.
Yes. And it is, I think, called the Grand Hotel. And it was built in the early 1900s.
Oh, wow.
And they built it in like 6 months. They literally had to pull on with horses, pulling lumber across the frozen Lake Michigan to build it, and they worked around the clock to get it built for whatever reason. And Mike and Ramona, you've met them, and really dear friends of mine, they decided they wanted to do a like 25-year recommitment ceremony. And they live in Michigan. And they decided they were going to do it on Mackinac Island in Michigan. And they asked me to facilitate their recommitment ceremony on Mackinac Island at the Grand Hotel, where they filmed Somewhere in Time
Wow.
with Jane Seymour and Christopher Reeve standing at the famous gazebo.
Wow.
It's where they got their recommitment ceremony, and I got to facilitate it.
Oh my gosh.
And when I was there doing it, we were in horse-drawn carriages.
Wow.
It was like deja vu out the yin-yang. And then it made me realize, why don't I consistently hold the space inside myself for other things I want to create in my life, so that I create the space and manifest the space back, or the place back. And that's sort of the moral of the whole Girl Your Soul is Speaking. How many times have you held a space in your heart for something with pure love energy, pure unconditionality, and then pull that thing to you? Have you had things like that? Me getting to do what I'm doing right now for a living is absolutely holding that space in my heart and then manifesting it in reality. So very briefly, Deidre, what's something you always wanted to do that maybe you thought you would never get to that you've now created?
Wow. Actually, quite a few things. I had a love for jewelry, and I learned to make it, and I started creating that. And I never thought I would do something like that. You know, you think about it, but you would see it in stores. I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. So that's like one thing I was able to do. And even I've experienced even like meeting celebrities.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not like it's funny because they're drawn to me.
Yes.
And so earlier when we were speaking, that was interesting because over the years I said, I don't try, but for some reason I end up meeting people. They come to me, or I'm in situations that I'm there and they're among me and everything, or I'm introduced to them. And it's just,
And can I be intuitive for just a little second? You, like me, when I was growing up, the TV was my friend. And I would see people on the TV, and I innately felt, sensed, and knew. It wasn't a thought I had where I want to know them. It was a feeling that bubbled up inside that said, you will one day know them and be friends with them. And that's what I feel from you. So they feel a recognition in your energy field based on that space that you had been holding for a long time.
Wow.
And I can tell you're not, nobody in this room is, one of those people that are, quote, starstruck.
Right.
You're a great appreciator of, and that authenticity shines through, and it's pure. And healthy people will gravitate to you in that celebrity world, and they'll feel like they know you.
Yeah.
And it's got a haunting vibe to it.
Wow. And that's been happening to me since I was
A little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the longest. And I'm like, wow. And even my background, my parents were entertainers. So they were musicians. So we kind of grew up in an entertainment family. So my sister and I, we played commercials in the mirror.
Yes.
So we did want to do part of the TV world industry and all that. But it wasn't about trying to get to celebrities, but we would always find ourselves in these situations where, wow, we met, whoever the biggest celebrity was at the time. We met so-and-so, and it just happened, that type of thing.
And you don't even realize it till you see them later somewhere, and people are like, oh, my God, they must be done. And you're like, yeah, they're really nice. I met them. They're like, what?
A lot of stories I don't even tell people because they wouldn't even believe me.
Yeah.
The situations that have happened to me. And so I don't even say
Well, you're smart not to sometimes. And really quickly, it's a sidebar note, and I think it's really important. Everybody I've ever done a reading for who, quote, wants to be famous for fame's sake, they have a long, bumpy ride.
Yeah.
And people who come to this town who have an authentic light and want to connect and build community, and they do what they do out of love, fame is a byproduct of that energy.
I
And
get it.
so it's like you can be a star without being, quote, a celebrity. And a handful of celebrities are stars without trying to be. They're doing what they were born to do,
Right.
and we gravitate to their light.
Right.
And very quickly, Kimberly, what's something you always wanted to do, and then you manifested it and created it because you held the space?
Well, I mean, definitely the nonprofit, for
There you
sure.
go.
Infinite Smile, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's gaining lots of momentum pretty quickly. It might not feel like it to you because you're the beauty and the brains and the guts and the sweat and the tears behind it.
Yeah.
But it is like boom, boom, boom up the ranks.
It's getting there. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens after this month, after the launch. So
Yeah.
my fingers crossed.
Keep us posted. And
will.
what's something you wanted to create? I know this station. What else?
Well, actually, I did not ever dream about this station. What was my passion was singing. And what that passion got me to be on The Gospel Dream in 2008,
Which is a reality show.
which was a reality show in Nashville, which ended up getting my desire for this. So I never wanted this until I reached that goal of going to Nashville, because it really fell into my lap. It was, it was not my hard work. I mean, went to voice lessons. I didn't sit there and I wasn't, have a band or anything. I just happened to audition. So that ended up getting me to this point to this day.
And so here's the non-physical perspective about everything we're talking about. All four of us are about building community from the inside out in a way that feels good in our heart chakra, which is a space we hold mentally and spiritually within ourselves, regardless of who's around. And yes, yours might have been singing, and the frequency of singing for you was really high, fast, and pure. That was a frequency that you held in your heart. And then getting to be on the show, the talent show, that amplified the frequency. The whole time, though, the reason you had the desire to sing is to connect with other people and share your light with community.
Right.
And give something to the community that was uplifting instead of what we keep getting barraged with every single day in a negative way. And so now you transmuted that frequency, that heart space, if you will, and you created a physical place here for all of us to come and play and reach out to the community and share the space within ourselves with other people. So that is Girl Your Soul is Speaking. Create hold the space, and then you can create that place that comes with it. It's fun.
Yay!
Yay!
Eddie poo poo butt.